Well, good evening, Fancy Me. You're here on a muggy, showery, mild Tuesday night in Great Sydney town for our look at what is going on in southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales with the system that is known as Tropical Cyclone Alfred. Let's get into it. I am sorry I was a little bit late, but there is lots going on. I wanted to review the last bit of models, what's happening. Let's get into it. I'm going to start right now once this gets going, and we are away. Okay, so Tropical Cyclone Alfred, latest update from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the naval branch of the US Armed Forces, Defense Forces, whatever they're called. Latest information is that he is gaining subtropical characteristics, which is incredibly important because it is going to future-proof him for his trip south. He stayed warm chord and crossed the coast as a warm chord. It was 100% I reckon guaranteed that he would actually fall apart before even got a chance to head south. But because he's actually transitioning and gaining those subtropical characteristics, it's actually going to give him the capacity to head south, and that's where things will get interesting. Okay, so it's currently about 320 nautical miles east of Brisbane, which is also important because when he starts his northwest or even west trip towards the coast, obviously his location will basically determine whereabouts he's going to cross when he gets to the coast. And we'll look at the latest track maps both from the Bureau and JWC very shortly. Currently they have him at 980 hectopascals, which is incredibly low considering that he's been absolutely smashed to pieces by some dry air and also some very strong shear. And this is actually where his subtropical characteristics have actually helped him survive, because he is since the sound's cutting in and out, please let me know if that's still the case. It should not be. If it is, I'll try and fix it on the run. He is definitely going to be able to pick up and fight against that dry air and that shear, because the subtropical characteristics aren't so dependent upon that really still warm atmosphere to get him going, and that's going to be the key. Wave height is 26 feet or 8 meters. Expect that to increase significantly as he starts pushing back towards the coast and the sea starts to well up or dam up against the coastline, which means there'll be more sea, which means the winds, as they increase too, there'll be more ocean to push towards the coast. His structure is fully exposed, as I showed this afternoon in that excellent video showing it, because of that shear and that dry air. However, he is still going along at great guns. They expect those conditions to actually ease quite significantly, allow re-intensification, and we will see. And they also do 100% support increasing in severity or intensity as he approaches the coast. So if he's 980 and pretty category 2 now, look, low end category 3 is not off the cards, depending upon what the environment is ahead of him. Alright, let's look at their latest map, and that is right here. And so we can see this is where he is currently right now, and then just expect that big U-turn back towards the coast under the influence of this area, this weather to the south building and going to the northeast, and they will bump him across the coast. We can see here the track again has actually slipped a bit further south. That's more close to Brisbane now, the crossing, and we can see that the area of uncertainty or low probability, which is where basically he could go, which is has actually gone back to more of an oval shape, which is interesting in itself. But generally, the model consensus is to getting across that coast by Thursday night or early Friday morning, and we shall see just what the air and the sea surface temperatures, etc., ahead of him will give him when he gets there. Okay, This is the Bureau's latest update, issued just 2 hours ago. They say that he's about 1,035 k's east of Brisbane. Now that's interesting because that's actually 100 something different kilometres different than the JTWC, which is interesting in itself. They say he's almost exactly the same, 50 knots, and they also give the central pressure the same, which is 980, which is good. Gust to 130 k's an hour, which is pretty impressive. They actually have the wind, like the field of winds, which is where the winds influence a massive 425 kilometres southeast of the centre. So this is what we are going to see, and I'll talk about the impacts for us coming up in the next few days. 425 kilometres of storm force southeasterly winds, and then gales extending to 425 southwest, 335 k's northwest, and 260 k's northeast. So storm force is basically like, mega dangerous. Gales is obviously just below tropical cyclone strength, but still quite strong and gusty. And they also flag that he's gaining subtropical traits, which is also incredibly important again because of that longevity issue and his trek south. And the more obviously prepared he is subtropical wise to transition from a warm core to that sort of cooler environment, the more likely he's going to last over land and survive that journey. And then I guess we'll see what he does from there. They say he is tracking currently southwest of 20 k's an hour, but he'll slow very soon and then start that westward track. And they say that they'll swing west tonight or early tomorrow. And the broad wind field is already smashing the waters out there. And he is not small at all, which is one of the things that's going to contribute to that massive amount of rain. I'll show you why and we'll get to the radar very soon. The other thing about that wind field too is that it actually, because it's coming from the southeast and there's such a long stretch of that wind, it actually encourages upwelling as well. Downwelling, which means the water will start sucking more warm water from the north. And it's quite often what we see here when we see a southeasterly or southerly change. We think that the water's going to be cold, and it actually gets warmer because of that process. And conversely, when you have strong northeasterlies, for example, it actually encourages upwelling, which is dragging up colder water from below the surface and actually making the sea surface temperatures really cold, which is why often early in summer and late spring the ocean feels so frigid and cold, even though it's warm and there's a lovely northeasterly blowing. And that isn't the reason why. So this huge area of southeasterlies and blowing up is actually going to encourage that downwelling and sucking very hot water in from the north. So that may also give Alfred a little bit of a kick up as he gets towards that coast, which is one thing I think they'll be watching for very importantly. Alright, so here's the Bureau's track. We can see it's pretty much now consistent with what JTWC is, so they're all pretty happy with obviously what the models are saying, and you can see their area of probability is actually very narrow now. They say he's basically heading towards Brisbane, no ifs and buts, and you can see that wind field is ginormous. You can see that the areas of gales are going to decrease. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. We'll see. They talk about intensification. And there will be obviously a period where the winds will contract around the low level circulation centre as it does intensify, but I'm not sure we'll see that necessarily, but we'll find out very soon. Alright, so here's the tracks next to each other. You can see there's pretty homogeneity now between them. They're pretty much the same. Both have that big U-turn, both have that sort of little wobble, and then both have a ploughing somewhere ashore, near Brisbane through Moreton Island in the bay there, whatever Brisbane Bay is called. Is it called Moreton Bay? I'm not sure, near the airport actually. In fact, it looks coming ashore at Redcliffe, I think, looking at that models, both at Redcliffe, maybe a little bit north, a little bit south, but definitely anywhere north that system is pretty good to say what cyclone, but anywhere south of it's going to know all about it, not only from the winds, but also from the torrential rain. And it's not going to be like rain where it's like 1,000 millimetres an hour. It's going to be like a steady accumulation. And at first it's going to seem, oh, this is not so bad. But after 12, 24 hours, 36 hours of this constant rain, then you're going to see some real issues start to develop. And unfortunately, that is what is forecast. All right, so rainfall, talking about rainfall, let's go on to what expected rainfall totals of between 300 and 1,000 millimetres. That's right, 1 metre of rain. And there's going to be obviously flash flooding anywhere south of Brisbane, so Brisbane and south. There may be a little bit about to the north of Brisbane, just depending again where that low-level circulation centre does cross, because anywhere south of the system is where you're going to see the rain and most of the weather. North of it will be a little bit breezy, but ain't going to be anywhere near what the south is, and that's one of the subtropical characteristics that they're flagged as well. And that's because Alfred is actually pushing against that ridge that's building to the south, and so the air is actually like being squeezed like a giant, squeezer. What are those things called? That squeezes things. Anyway, yeah, and that's what's going to cause that humongous rainfall totals, especially for northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland, possibly travelling south to the mid-north coast and also to the Hunter and the Sydney metro areas, depending exactly again on where Alfred does travel. You can see here, worst areas going to be the Gold Coast, Brisbane, the hinterland, basically anywhere east of the Great Dividing Range. So basically from the highest point of the Great Dividing Range to the east is where you expect, torrential, heavy, life-threatening rainfall. And it's as simple as that. We're not going to sugarcoat that. And of course, one of the key takeaways we want everybody, the message to get out there is if your suburb floods, you can basically expect it's going to go under. Don't get in your Toyota Camry and try and think it's an amphibious assault vehicle, because it's not, and it just puts everybody else at danger, at risk, coming to get you. And the SCS are going to be busy, or whatever the Queensland call themselves, busy enough as it is, focusing on preventing other people getting their lives threatened than having to rescue you out of your Toyota Camry. I no hate to Camrys, of course, but they do sink very well. Okay, so the flooding outlook now, as we saw this afternoon, but we'll go through this area, obviously anywhere in the southeast Queensland. So there's a whole lot of rivers there, the Brisbane River, the river that is the back of the Gold Coast hinterland. I think it says the Hinge River or something like that, but anyway, any of those things. A lot of the Gold Coast Canal, the estates down there, anywhere those sort of low-lying areas, there is absolute threat, not only flooding, but also inundation from storm surge. But in New South Wales, you've got the Wilsons, major flooding expected in Wilsonville, and the poor people of Lismore after they've already gone through that only a couple of years ago. Tweed, Brunswick, Richmond, Clarence, Aurora, Bellingen, and Butler, Macleay, Hastings, Camden Haven, all moderate to major flooding. And they're just added the Manning and Gloucester rivers this afternoon to minor to moderate flood risk. And depending on Albert, of course, Albert, where he goes, that will probably change over the next few days. We'll keep you updated. Now, winds and storm surge. This is actually probably the most important part, not so much the winds, but the storm surge. Coastal gusts at this stage looking up to 120 k's an hour from Wednesday right through till the system clears inland. So that could be Friday lunchtime, earlier or later. Island communities especially are going to experience it stronger because there's less friction, so the wind can go across water very easy. So they can get 130 to 140 k an hour winds, which is obviously destructive. And inland regions still going to see quite gusty conditions between 60 to 90 k an hour gusts. Something you get with a decent storm. Again, most of the severe weather is going to come from flooding from Alfred for those areas, not necessarily wind, but winds will make things annoying and could potentially pick up you and your neighbour's trampoline outdoor furniture and blow it to goodbye. Please, travel hazards, there will be stuff everywhere, so get off the roads, stay off the roads. That's why when they issue a watch and then we'll move to a warning is basically a lockdown, which we're all used to. So please make sure that your preparations are you're not out and about once that warning is issued for your safety. But not only that, it's just so that we don't tie up resources. Boating, lol, don't bother, just forget it. Alright, let's go. Storm surge. This is actually probably one of the most important things because it's something we don't get to experience very often in Australia at all, especially on the east coast. The northern areas, of course, get to do it a bit more often than we do. But this one here is actually insignificant because of the huge wind field that is with Alfred, as you saw from the bureau scene. Because it's such a massive area of really strong winds and gale force winds, it is going to well up a lot of water ahead of it, and that is going to have nowhere to go other than across the coast. So anywhere that does go under, if it's 5 millimeters of rain and you get puddles and that sort of stuff, you really need to start thinking about what your preparations are to get the hell out of there, because it is going to go under with the storm surge if Alfred arrives as he is and intensifies the way he is, because those winds will just get stronger. There's 7 meters waves offshore already. They're going to get higher and bigger, and they are going to move towards the coast, and there is just going to be surge after surge. And of course, with high tides, just check them out as well. That will exacerbate every little millimetre that the coast may offer in protection against that sea is going to be gone. You should start to see, I've already seen some videos and footage of places along the coast, especially north of Brisbane there, along the exposed coast where the sea's already inundated low coastal areas and broken through some of the sand dunes and that sort of stuff, and it's not even close yet. So that's going to start intensifying really from tomorrow, pretty tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night, I'd say. But yeah, Thursday, Friday, expect the worst. Please, if you have a waterfront property, expect that it's going to be inundated and get out of there as quick as you can. Don't leave to the last minute because it's likely that other areas will be flooded, the roads will be closed because there'll be obviously preemptive action taken by the police or SES to try and protect and hedge up areas, and you may not get out and you may find yourself in a position where you're putting your own life at risk. So have a plan to, if you're in low-lying areas, have a plan where you're going to go and who you're going to stay with. And there's, I was, Pos, if she's on tonight, or he's on tonight, so I'm not even sure what you are, but I hope I didn't misgender you, but they flagged me that already that in the northeast of New South Wales, the SES has already opened 11 refuge centres, what do they call them these days, shelters, so there's plenty of places already preparing, get ready, identify what's closest to you and make preparations to go there, not at the last minute, please. Alright, pets and animals, this is one thing that's often forgotten by obviously a lot of the agencies because they're very much focused on other things. But for your pet safety and for your own safety too, pets do get freaked out in these environments and they can become aggressive. So if you don't make arrangements to protect them from whatever's going to be going on, you're putting them and yourself at harm's risk as well. And again, I love this. Alfred doesn't care that your dog hates rain or your cat is a mighty warrior of the streets. They're going to be scared, and that's as simple as that. So before Alfred gets there, of course, make sure you've got all your food, your water, where you put them. If you need some, obviously some piddle pads and that sort of stuff for dogs especially, because not to go outside and be able to pee because the winds will be howling and that'd be scaring them. Any meds that your dogs may need, that sort of stuff. Make sure you've got, your ID tag, where your chips for dogs, animals are chipped, ready to go. All that sort of documentation you got. The best suggestion I can do is get a cloud drive, so either Google or iCloud or whatever super provider you do. Take pictures of all your important documents, put on your cloud drive. They're safe as anything. So if the wind washes, and the storm comes up and washes your house away, all your documents are safe in that drive. You can get them out anytime. It's absolutely the best thing you can do now, and that's what you can be doing right now, especially if you're in those danger zones. During the storms, keep them inside, please. I know they're going to be a bit freaked out, but if you give them somewhere quiet, a nice dark room with some good bedding and that sort of stuff, and a bowl of water or something like that, that should be fine. Again, keep an eye on if you are in areas that may be subject to a bit of flooding or even just, heavy rain. Keep an eye on your eases, the doors, under the doors, the windows and stuff. Make sure there's no water leaking in, and make sure you've got your exits identified if you do need to evacuate ASAP. Get them identified, know where you're going, have a plan. After the storm, don't just let them run out straight away and go, yeah, everything's good, because there could be trees down, there could be power lines down, there could be a whole range of stuff going on outside that you don't know about. So please do not just let them run out first. Go out and have a little bit of a recce. Now they're going to be excited to try and get outside, but the thing is, you need to check out there first to guarantee your and the animal safety. It's as simple as that. And also, check with the SES or whatever they're called in Queensland just to make sure they have a pet-friendly shelters. The last thing you need is rocking up with your dog or your cats and they don't take it and they're going to stay in the car or they escape, all that sort of stuff. It could be bad for everybody, and you don't want to see a little Fluffy or whatever your pet's name, disappear and not be seen again, and that breaks my heart. So please make sure you look after them as well. Okay, so let's go rightio. So multiple trends at this stage. So what JCWC have said, future tracking and that sort of stuff, they are saying that definitely it's going to maintain that westerly track. Now they expect that a little bit of a kink to the northwest at some time during the Wednesday, early Thursday, but it's going to be flattened out back to west, and they expect that landfall somewhere just to the north of Brisbane, as I showed you, and excuse me, I always get hiccups when I talk to you guys. Possibly a little bit further north in Sunshine Coast, so they just think they're just flagging that as because their area of uncertainty was quite large, so they're just basically flagging that to make sure that all the agencies, emergency agencies, SES and that sort of stuff are prepared as well. They still maintain that, even though they do flag intensification. I'm not sure that 55 knots we'll see, I guess. Again, with all that massive downwelling that's going to be going on because of the way the southeasts are blowing across the surface there and sucking all that hot water down from the north, which would have recovered by now because our Alfred's been gone for quite a while and it's been quite sunny and clear skies to the north. Expect there could be a really rapid intensification as it gets closer to the coast. So just flag that right now. They say actually, what I said before, which is interesting, they say it could be low in category 3 before landfall, which is what I said before you earlier. I haven't even read that. So there you go. So JCC, WC and I are on the same track. I do believe that will be category 3 as it hits the coast. And of course that can create other issues because that's sort of a step up in the winds. And then you start to get, nasty storms around the sort of eye wall and the low level circulation center, which is the heart of the cyclone, and you start to get localized effects like, potentially tornadoes and water spouts and stuff like that as well. So all that sort of stuff is in play. They say the destructive core will hit land late Thursday. The Bureau says sort of overnight into Friday maybe. I think late Thursday, early Friday, maybe Friday morning, be ready for that destructive core. And they say, of course, flash flooding and storm surge risk are increased rapidly. So that's what I was saying before. Make sure your plan is locked in now. Get everything sorted now because you won't have time to sit there and vacillate. You're going to put your life at risk as well as other people's lives at risk, including those people who want to rescue you. So make sure you're locked in, you know where you're going. And those people out there saying, don't alarm people, cause them anxiety. I'm sorry, but I've been through a number of cyclones. And you need to be prepared. It's as simple as that. If you don't have reality explained out to you and it gets to the situation and you're not aware of the consequences, then, who you got to blame? You've got to blame the people who don't give the information. Whereas if you can go to the information now, it makes you anxious. I'm sorry, but you need to understand the urgency and the seriousness of the situation if, it comes about. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. So be prepared, especially for flooding. Flooding is what kills most people in cyclones or storms. It's very rarely wind or lightning or anything else. It's flooding usually because people they leave decisions to the last minute. They try and escape. They realise that it's going to be dangerous. They try and get in their car and drive through it, get washed away, and horrific things happen. So get stuff sorted today and tomorrow. Evacuation plan. Know where you're going. Check with your SES, your local, and if you're in South East Queensland, check with whatever they're called there. And find out where there's areas that are above the surface where the evacuation centres are. I'm sure they'll welcome you with open arms. And they will not think anything less of you if you're nervous or anxious or if you go there a little bit early. They won't care. They'll be like, great, this person obviously is taking our message seriously. So, my bottom line is that it's not hype. Even though I'm a bit excited and a bit jealous because I love these situations, obviously being a weather nerd, but the Bureau's technical discussion, which was only released a couple of hours ago, so it's fresh off the servers. The track forecast is tightening, so they're basically saying it's pretty much locked and loaded now. They're still going with the same location as JWC. They're saying a stronger Category 2 expected, but they say the models are now telling them that's going to be a high in Category 2 or low in Category 3 and could intensify just before landfall due to better conditions, which is what I was saying to you only earlier. I haven't even read this yet. I just basically cut and pasted and was rushing to get on time because the models are slow to release tonight, which is so frustrating. So again, I personally said from a few days, I think a low end Category 3 is possible. Again, because of that downwelling, that warm water that's pouring down from the Coral Sea, that's pulling there, waiting for it ahead. Because don't forget, those winds are to the south. That water there, north of Brisbane, is just sitting there, bubbling away, like a good old stew. And Alfred's going to plough right into that and go, goody, goody, whack. Again, they're worrying for key hazards, of course. Cyclone winds, high tides. Storm surge, absolutely high risk. Flash flooding. Massive rainfalls. They're being very conservative to 240 millimetres. Their own model's going for 1,000 millimetres up to. So again, winds, everything like that. And the thing is, intensification again, the same consistent messaging from JWC. Okay, let's go. What are we looking at? So obviously, I'm not going to give anything further than 96 hours because there is such model flux at the moment. It is a swinging all over the place. More than a cat's going to be swinging all over the place if you put it outside in the wind up there when Alfred comes in. But we are looking at an increase in the southeasterly winds, especially from tomorrow right through to Friday into the weekend. We are borderline. I think Louise actually mentioned today on the page that she thought it was the outer bands. I don't think so when you look at the satellite picture and the water vapor imagery. I think there was still a delineation between the ridge we're under and Alfred's outer circulation, but I think definitely as of tonight and tomorrow morning, the outer circulation of Alfred will start to impact us, which means we will start to get these bands of sort of gusty showers moving in from the southeast. Nothing heavy or interesting for us at this stage, but it's going to be, it's definitely going to be windy, especially on the coast. and the showers will be gusty because of those very strong winds above the surface as it feeds into Albert. And the good thing is because he's dragging out a lot of moisture with it as well, we should get a better increase in showers tomorrow, though we will know, we'll just take it with a grain of salt the way things have been lately. But if you're thinking about boating or you're going out in the boat, forget it, please. It is going to be pretty crappy out there from basically tomorrow on and pretty to early next week or even limited next week, given where Alfred does travel, so just forget about it. Beach conditions as well is going to be crappy, so forget about going to the beach. Not that the conditions are going to be very conducive, but anyway, the water's going to be lovely and warm, so if you do go out for a swim, there's going to be rips, there's going to be large surfaces. We'll start to see Alfred's swell start to really impact us very soon. In fact, they're pretty overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning. If those close to the coast, you'll pretty start to hear the actual roar of those massive waves as they start to push in. And that swell will hang around with us for many a day because he is just sitting out there and has been for days generating that swell. And so, 7-metre waves are going to head this way. The weekend at this stage, I'm not willing to bet anything because the models have just vacillated and changed, obfuscated, and done everything possible about track. That's why I was a little minute late at the start, because I was waiting for the track maps or hurricane maps, where they call windy calls, to update. They had not updated, so obviously not sure what's going on there. So hopefully they'll be done for you very shortly, and we can check out together live what is going to be the case. But it's just going to be annoying for us for the next few days. It's just going to be one of those days where it's just windy, showery, bleh. Again, our potential weather is from late weekend, depending on how quickly he moves south, of course, maybe mid-weekend. But early next week is definitely looking like the key, which interestingly is what Eclipse did flag 3 weeks ago now, almost, when I was developing it. So interesting that. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up the models. No Q&A yet. I'm going to actually grab Windy and have a look because I was hoping it would be updated. So let's go. Here's something I prepared earlier. And we can see here it still hasn't updated. It's so frustrating. I don't know what is going on. Let's cross our fingers we get it while we're on the screen. Let's go. The wheels started spinning. So no, updated 9 hours ago. Look at that. It is still not updated. That is really not good. All right, we'll go back to that in a second. And what we'll do is we'll have a quick look at the models ourselves and we'll just see what they're doing. This is EC, so should be, hopefully it's the most recent run. Yep, yay, so EC's updated. It's interesting that the maps haven't updated. So this is where basically he is now at 9 o'clock tonight, which is pretty much, as you can see, 9:82. Let's go into, we won't have to worry about then. We'll go into Thursday, which is when we expect it. Now, don't worry about so much the rain at this stage because cyclones are more accumulators rather than heavy falls. Even that does say heavy falls, but they're more accumulators. You can see what again I was saying about that southern edge, about that, and I'll show you the radar in a moment. In the satellite picture, you can see what I'm talking about. And those people who saw the imagery I put up before, you see that big slab of white clouds to the south. That is what's going to cause all the drama, especially for the southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. You can see here down here now the convection and the convergence. You can see how these southeasterly winds here are hitting the coast, and then they're getting lifted up over the Great Dividing Range, and look what it's doing, it's actually enhancing that rainfall, and so that is what's going to cause those dramas right up and down here, basically from north of the Hunter right up through. And you can see the cyclone is nowhere near that, but you can see just this lifting across this, the artificial or mechanical lifting as we call it. Even from starting tomorrow, you can see storms forming. And there's those bands of stuff that Alfred, will throw out. Anyway, let's go to what that says here. So we see by Thursday afternoon he's actually, now EC has that 990, which is interesting. So, and then you can see it starting to rapidly intensify now. So let's see, look at that 987 and back to 989. I'm not sure that's going to be the case. I think it's just obviously losing a bit of resolution. You can see, for me, this is where it gets confusing because you can see that it says lower pressure but you can see this tightening here. You have this little circle that's got, from out here, it's pretty wide. You can see it's a bit all over the place. There's a lot of, but then as it gets towards the coast, you can see it really tighten up. And that's what, obviously, see how it's got really curvy, like really tight there? And that's because that influence of that warmer water that the JTWC and Bureau were talking about, but also the interaction with the coast as well. You think, the coast would actually weaken it. Actually, the coast actually helps intensify it briefly, And if it maintains that forward motion, it'll actually help intensify as it plows into land. So you can see here why I was talking about those dramas. Look at that over Brisbane and the Gold Coast, bad. And when you've got lightning as well as rain, that's even worse because it means that the atmosphere is incredibly unstable, and which means you've got more likely, torrential falls. And so look at that. That is just ridiculous. And that is, you can see how tightly wound that centre is. And you can see here it doesn't go into now until early Friday morning, which is what I was saying to you before. I think it's going to take a bit longer to get across the coast. And you can see there it's still crossing the coast in Friday morning. And those rainfall areas are slamming into the Gold Coast and northeast New South Wales. And you can see the greatest risk in north New South Wales actually increases from sort of as he gets over land. It's because he stops sucking stuff towards him, and then it just starts to then get smashed against the direct dividing range. So he's not being so greedy, and that's when, of course, their risk does happen. Let's see now what EC is saying with regards to tracking. Now the tracking map hasn't been put out. Still staying there. Right, let's move to the south. So here comes his little southward trip. Now he's still got a tight circulation, as you can see here. And let's see where he does go. Now, so they're bumping him and washing him out more to the north now, which is interesting. And Sunday, oh, there we go. Here comes his southward surge. And look at that, he's still quite tight, very tight. And look at the compression ahead of it on the southeastern side, which is an interesting sign in itself. Timing, and here it comes. Interesting. So now, there we go. So definitely he's going to come across us somewhere, whether it's just to our southwest or this is the closest that EC has had him all run to us since this started. So, like you can see the south coast, not sure that'll be the case. I think it's a little bit far out now for getting excited about that. But there we go. So the only thing about that, of course, is it clears out very quickly, because once it gets off the coast, you can see it actually transitions into a Tasman low. So that's that subtropical characteristics that I'm talking about. And that's why he's allowed him to stay pretty intact as he's gone across the land and made his journey south. For us here, this is probably a crap scenario, because this will be dry southwesterlies. It'd be nice and humid, nice and dry, and won't be humid for a change. But precipitation-wise, would be screwed from that scenario. So we'll keep an eye on. Look at these multiple little vortices spinning up off the coast as the different flows sort of buffer back and forward. There is actually a scientific term for them. I can't remember what it is. It's some cute little term. I might try and find that later. And that's pretty it for us in terms of that event, although there's still some showers around after, which is good. Okay, so that is what EC is saying. Let's have a look at our access. I think that's updated as well. Let's go access. And then we'll look quickly at GFS and see what a laugh that is. Okay, so you can see already why the Bureau has flagged. Look at the intensification they've got. Now, this is the interesting tweak between EC, and you see the time difference. Access has it almost 24 hours ahead of what EC is saying. Now, that's critical, because the longer it stays out to sea, I think the better it's going to intensify. Look at this, 975 for Access, and look at that little spinning top. That is Category 3 for me, easily Category 3. In fact, 974 as it approaches. Let's just quickly look at wind gusts. Wow. I mean, 94 knots, nearly 100 knots, that is well into a Category 3. That is dangerous. That is absolutely dangerous. If you're getting 100 knot gusts across the Gold Coast, you can see before we saw their products was like 50, 55, maybe 60 knots. You're almost talking, winds increase exponentially as they get stronger. So it's not just like 10 kilometers, 10 knots stronger means it's like 10 knots strong, you know what I mean? It's like there's some sort of sliding scale, and please provide the information in the chat so you can find it quickly. But that is like triple the speed of what 50 knots would be, as in the impacts. That is absolutely concerning, and that must be sending chills down the Bureau's spine. That is incredible. Look at that little, and it's actually dipping to the south. Now that is something they haven't flagged at all. Wow, that is a worry. Okay, look at that, is going between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Wow, look at that tight little centre. Wow. I mean, you've still got 65, 70 knots, and it's been over land, wow. Okay, so we've got some real differentiation now. It speeds it up, and also it's basically double or triple the strength that EC has it. That's interesting in itself. All right, let's see where it goes from there. We can safely assume the rainfall is going to be horrendous. You can see already the differentiation is that the ridge here to the south of it is actually keeping it closer to the coast, which is going to be better in prospects for us going ahead. I might just change that to rainfall now. We know that the winds are going to be strong. Let's see what it's going to do with that. Yet, coincidentally, it is slowing the system down a bit, but it's then taking it further away from us. And we are getting sort of negligible impacts. Maybe, Sunday might be some heavy rain, that'd be about it. And then the south coast gets absolutely whacked. So that's south coast for both EC and Axis, which is a bit concerning for our potential for some good rain, because we deserve it. And then, basically it's all red over Red Rover, except on its rear end this time, it actually sends up a southerly change with a bit of southwesterly king to it. None of that beautiful dry southwesterly air, which we won't really want if we're going to have put up with being rogered. You can see it actually forms that subtropical or extratropical. Look at this, a massive Tasman line. You can see the difference already in the difference between the circulations. You can see here it's very loose, very wide, and the strongest winds, if I was to show you wind gusts now, you'll see they're actually quite displaced from the centre. You can see they're actually quite far out, whereas, if I was to go back here and show you, that's how you tell the difference between, a warm chord system and a cold chord system. See the difference there? Tightly around the centre, and you skip through to next week and you go down to here, you can see quite displaced from the centre, way out, away. And that just gives us absolute shit heat, yucky southerlies with nothing. There's no moisture because it's going to be all squeezed out over here. It's going to be those dry southwest southerlies that we have to put up with all the time, which is really just not fair. Albert, it's pretty close to calling it Albert. I'm actually going to call you Albert if you can do that to us. Fat Albert off that cartoon soon. And it hangs around the Tasman, basically giving us crap weather all week. Look at this, back down to 999 and showing some warm chord characteristics, mind you. Wow, what a weird little system this is. Anyway, we'll just take it with a bar of soap, because there's quite a discrepancy now between Axis and EC, so that's a bit of a worry in that sort of timing. Alright, let's have a quick look now at GFS. Get far away soon. So you can see basically it's on the same track. When we look at GFS, it's really low res, so it smooths quite a lot of detail out. So if you're going to expect the pretty colours and lots of stuff, you're not going to see it. We might go to winds, because he has such a pretty big wind field. The winds are going to be pretty much. Now you can see they've actually got more of a southwesterly track than they got coming across basically on the border. I don't think that's going to be the case, Mr. GFS, at all. It doesn't link up with anything that anybody is saying at this stage. And we'll go into where it goes after that. Washes it out in Western New South Wales. Let's see what it does there. Forms a trough, so you can see the trough here. So you've got, this sort of warmer, dry air ahead of it, and then you've got this colder, sort of moister, southerly air. Let's go back to rain and accumulation there. Alright, how'd you go? Sorry. Storm Cat wanted out. Okay, so GFS, we can live up to its name and you can get far away soon. Okay, so Icon, it's only 5 days, don't forget, but it's actually pretty good. So look at that rainfall there. I'm going to focus on wind, because we all know it's going to rain. Let's quickly check the wind gusts and then I'll get to your QA. I think it's not going to be helpful in looking at any of the sort of long-term stuff yet, because there's been such a change again. 80 knots they got, which is again pretty much backing out the Bureau and not EC. Did we look at EC's winds? I think we did, didn't we? We go back and double check them. I mean, that's still pretty significant. Anything over 80 knots, it's going to be pretty significant wise, damage wise. And again, look at this wind field though. This is the thing that's a major worry for everywhere. Look at that. It's just driving that moisture and ramming it across the Great Dividing Range, and so that's where all that rain's going to come from. It's just like one huge funnel. Let's check EC's wind, because I don't think we did, and then I'll quickly get some Q&A done and get out of here. Get out of your hair. Let's have a look what EC has. Yeah, see, it's 74 knots. That's getting into Cat 3 category. And you can see the reason that it doesn't get those winds as strong is because of timing wise. Interesting. So Bureau is definitely going for a good low end, even mid end category 3, which would be a whole new ball game, to be honest. once you get cyclones get into that severe category, they sort of start to create their own environment. So that's when things will get interesting, and we'll obviously watch that very closely. Okay, so I'm going to quickly check out the satellite picture. I just want to show you that band of stuff. I'm going to go back a little bit and go back to visible, go back 6 hours. Just want to show you this interesting feature. So again, look at this tail curve. This is the poleward outflow from Alfred. It goes almost to Antarctica. Look, way down there. That is all outflow down to the South Pole. That is all upper winds dragging away the crap from Alfred, which is why he is lasted as long as he has. It is thousands of kilometers long. And this is the feature that is important. So it doesn't look like a Cassidy tropic. You know, it's that beautiful LSC. I'm just going to go a little bit further on because that beautiful big storm in the south there. Look at it actually explode. That's as far as we can go before he loses it because it's dark. That is indications that he's already starting to strengthen. And he's getting moisture now on the southern side, because you can see here the moisture starting to creep up on the other side, on the northern side as well. You can see that there's cumulus and that sort of stuff here. You can see the cumulus starting to form here. And you can see that the air banking up against the Great Dividing Range already. And you can see these little rivulet types, little wiggly lines. That's those bands. And you can see this is the outer edge of what I said to Louise before. This is the outer edge of Albert's banding here. You can see there's a gap between it and us. But you watch as that goes, it's beginning to get dark, but you can see now the outer bands are starting to approach us even now. So it's not, overnight I think we'll start to see the outer bands. Alright, let's not lose too much of that because I want to show you a bit of structural zooming. And you can see there's the low level circulation zone. This is just a beast, like it is that strong. And that's all low cloud on the surface of the sea. And in fact, if this was a bit higher, you could actually probably even see the sea and how chopped up it is. This is a massive cell. It's pretty super cell. Look at that teardrop. But that is an indication that it's now connecting with moisture, better surface moisture. It also shows that there's still a bit of this sort of streaky cloud here, which shows upper winds are still a bit, but upper winds are good for cyclone strong winds because they actually blow that dry air away, which we can see from this streaky cloud going away. So, but this here, the way it's not actually being shredded now, shows to me that the shear may be just starting to back off quite a lot, which should see rapid intensification of Alfred, especially into tomorrow. So that may be, a bit of a precursor. We'll see. And this is the other thing I want to show you. See, it's basically clear, well ahead of it into all these waters ahead. Look at this. There's literally nothing over those waters. So he's going to move right into those preheated waters for him. And again, that's going to help him obviously grow and develop. All right, that's enough for that now. But this is what's going to cause this rainfall issues here. This massive area convergence. This is where Alfred circulation is squeezing into the ridge's circulation, and basically the winds are ramming each other. So if I was to show, I can't show you winds because it may not pick it up. Maybe it might. Let's just go here. We might go here. Let's see if we can see that from these levels. Yeah, you can see it a little bit here. So you can see Albert's circulation here, and then you can see this general sort of circulation from the east here. And you can see how it's like squeezing together. That's what's going to cause the problem. So if we go out to here where the timing is now, you can see there's Alfred's sort of weird circulation. You can see the stuff coming in here. See this separate from the east flowing into here, and you can see those lines coming together. That's called convergence, and that's where the ridge from the south is meeting Alfred circulation. That's what's causing, and it's going to cause all that rain in this whole area, this danger zone here. And that's what we're watching very, very closely. Alright, question and answer time. Let's go. I'll put that back there. No, we don't want to see it now. I mean, look at that storm now. It's actually, you can see it's actually starting to look a bit more like a cyclone again. So that's very interesting. Interesting. And you can see very fresh, and lightning. I love when I see lightning around the cause of cyclones. That's massive intensification signs. It's what you want to see. Storms around cyclones is always a sign that it is pumping away. Alright, quickly, let's go to your Q&A. Thank you so much for your time. I know I went through a whole lot of stuff tonight, but hopefully you found that interesting. Okay, let's go. If it's flooded, forget it. Yeah, g'day Rachel, g'day Fiona. Mozzie's post, yes, very much for Ross River Food and stuff, post the event too. Snakes and actually wild animals will be displaced. Absolutely, Asher, thank you for that. Don't forget that. Why do they come ashore overnight? It fascinates me, Chris. I think it's because I think it's the land is warmer, so it draws across. Like you think the opposite. Normally at night time the sea is warmer, the ocean is warmer, and so it says. But it's always seems to be like that sort of nighttime thing, doesn't it? It's bizarre. I've always thought the same thing. I think it's because that it gets sucked towards the warmth of the land, and then just gets captured by those systems, and away it goes. G'day EJ, please look after yourself. G'day Paul. What's the difference between an EC and TC and ECL? A TC is warm core and an ECL is cold core, and that's what I was explaining before, Troy, about just the engine, what drives it. So a warm core basically needs the warm surface sea temperatures to basically fuel the storms, whereas a cold core one really needs the upper temperatures to be ultra cold to fuel its instability. So it relies upon the temperature differential between upstairs and downstairs, whereas the reverse is for warm core. It relies upon the temperature differential between the surface and upstairs. Because obviously in the tropics you don't often get very cold uppers, but they're colder than what the surface temperature is, and that's where you get your differentiation. That's basically a layman's sort of summary of the differences between them. And the winds. So around warm core stuff, the strongest winds are always around the low level circulation centre. And with cold cores, it's displaced, so it's actually often quite a way away from the low level circulation centre, as I just showed you before on that map, on the model. Hopefully that explains it for you, Troy. Please let me know if that didn't explain it for you. Rightio, so what are the other questions you got there? What's the advice about Beck? It's going to be all on the slide, on the video, so please feel free to hop on and get on the live and have a check it out. I've got all the slides there for you, so all the information's there for you in writing, so you can check it out. Make sure you do your grocery shopping too. Animal shelter, absolutely. Manly Ferry will be wild, absolutely. Although it's not so bad with the southeastern thing, because it does get protected quite a bit by the heads, but we'll see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Let's go. Let's go to questions. On the ferry throwing up, absolutely. Yeah, 108k an hour, Brett. Yep, absolutely. It's nasty if it gets to that 100k an hour, 100 knots. It is definitely a difference. I will say right now, if it gets to that forecast 100 knots that we saw, it's a different system altogether. It is a different system and it has different impacts and it will do different things, and that will be making both JTWC and the Bureau very, very nervous. G'day Vicky, love to see you both, and Kim as well. Would you be worried in South Ballina? Yes, I would be, absolutely. And in Cabin Caravan, I absolutely would be looking for a path or evacuation plan, Tanya. Look where your look where your local SES is, and even feel free to give them a chat and just say, look, I'm here. You know, what sort of time should I leave home? And they'll tell you a good safe time that you should probably evacuate and go and spend a lovely time with those people at the SES and keep them company. Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. That area around Fingal, there around the Tweed Heads, is all low-lying. It will get inundated by storm surge. There's no doubts about that. Not all of it, but definitely low level areas there. I mean, I've stayed in caravan there at Fingal before. It's basically on the sea level. So once it gets over those dunes, Newcastle get much. That's yet to be seen, Doug. It's probably in the same boat as us. It's still a bit to be seen. I have no idea, Thomas, at this stage. I don't like the looks of those models, but again, we saw just the amount of rain and convection it had just to our west, so all it takes is a shift to the east, and that's all over the top of us. So I don't think it's well as us time yet. We'll keep an eye on it very closely. But you know, model lows are lows, so let's go. You're welcome, Sue. Lovely to see you too. Yep, thank you for that, Posros. Absolutely, absolutely 100% agree with what you said to Tanya there. She's in a very low area. She needs to look out for what she's doing. Awesome. You please look after yourself, Samantha. You sound like you've got your shit sorted, so I'm not going to judge you at all. I love the fact because I would probably go up if I could. I have family on the Gold Coast who said, come up and stay with us. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. Because if I get stuck up there, I mean, I could work from there, that's the thing. So that's not much of an issue, but no. I would miss the better half too much. They have to work down here. I'm not going to leave them behind whatsoever. And plus, I got to look after you guys. Like, why would I be up there when possibly it could be happening down here? I want to be with you pigs. But please, Samantha, feel free to DM me through the page any sort of stuff. You've got videos or pictures, we'll absolutely put it on there for you. And congratulations too on your 3-year anniversary. So great to have you on board for that long. Well done. And sad that I've only heard from you a couple of times, so please make yourself a bit more known. I love the fact that you are doing this stuff. So also, if you want fresh updates while you're up there, like just DM me. I'm happy to give you whatever you need, what I can see directly off the models for you. G'day Matthew, yeah, lovely and calm, but expect those sort of gusty, sort of squally sort of trains. You guys in Wollongong will definitely see some of these out of band stuff as well. Maybe not technically out of bands, but you'll definitely get these inflow, what we call in-feeder bands into Alfred for sure. I keep calling him Albert. What the hell's Albert on my mind? Okay. You don't annoy me anytime, Mr. Sharp, when there's posts at all, when you tag me. Absolutely not annoy me. If I don't get to them all, it's just because I've been busy with trying to earn coin for my work as well. Hello, Monica. Oh my God, stranger. I was actually going to send out the New South Wales Police to do a welfare check on you. I haven't seen you for so long. I hope you are fabulous. We have missed you 100%, you and Monty, but I'm sure. Troy, you are welcome anytime. Got any questions, just ask away. Hello, Alicia. It's always better to be fashionably late than late altogether, so welcome. Thank you for your time. You can always just catch up on the video. You have gone missing. Missed you, Miss Monica. Issue with setting stars, saying yeah. Sorry, I've had to disable setting stars because Facebook. To cut a long story short, Facebook don't tell me who sends stars, so unless I see this chat, and it's very hard to catch sometimes, I have no idea. And I feel absolutely shitty that I can't acknowledge people when they do be so generous. And they won't give me a list of who sends stars because they say it's a privacy thing, even though I'm saying, they're sending it to me. And then now, they're also now getting rid of live videos after 30 days. So I have to, download these videos and stuff now, so I've really got to think about where we're going to do going ahead in the future. The possibility is I'm trying to move to OBS, which is an awesome streaming thing, but it just, it makes things a bit laggy, so I don't think I've got the video codecs quite correct yet. The last thing I want to do is get on and it's just it looks like, I'm back in the 1970s using dial-up modem. So I'm going to try and work my best to get that sorted this week and try and do one of the lives this week on OBS to see how it goes, because it does give it a lot more functionality, including live chat. So rather than you guys being behind me all the time and I'm having to catch up, you would have live, real-time chat, so I'd be able to see what's going on. You'd be able to interact with me a lot better. So I'm really pushing to get that done. I have a 2019 Mac Mini too, so it's really stretched the capabilities, but I'm going to make it happen whatever I can. Thank you so much, Mark, for that offer for that Ford drive and the chainsaws. PayPal is much preferred. There is a link at the top now if you can. I understand if you don't feel comfortable doing that. That's absolutely your decision. I don't, no grudges or anything, no hard feelings about that whatsoever. What's the comparison between knots and kilometres now? I know it's about, someone help me, I think it's like 2.5 or 3 point something kilometres per knot, but something like that. No, actually no, it's not. At 0.87 or 1 point something like that. So basically, for example, 40 knots is about 80 k's an hour. So it's roughly double. It's not quite that. I think it's like 78 kilometres or 77 kilometres an hour or something like that, but just double it. That's what I do. And then just minus 15 or something. I think that's the easiest way to do it, but just double it. That gives you a ballpark figure, Chris. I just like knots because it sounds nautical as opposed to kilometres an hour, which sounds like you're driving a car. Yeah, the road's going to be closed very soon. As soon as that watch is issued, that's what my family says on the Gold Coast. There's some stuff going on there. Talking about that, hello there, Blake Lamoff. Lovely to see you. I hope you are lovely and safe in the Gold Coast, and buckle in because it's about to get interesting. Samantha, as I said, please feel free to DM me for any info, any model info. It's going to get difficult up there, I guess, with bits and pieces. Please let me know. I'm happy to help out wherever I can. Thank you, Paul, for checking up on those friends up there. That's great to see. You're welcome, Ashley. My God, I've been going over time again, but it's been a great live. Friends in Logan should evacuate. Number 3 depends exactly whereabouts they are. And congratulations on your milestone too. Thank you so much for following. Really, best thing is to have a chat get them to chat to their local Queensland SES, whatever they're called. Just say, look, this is my street. What risk am I from flash flooding or normal inundation? they'll give you an idea, and they'll give you an idea whether you should evacuate and when you should evacuate. Absolutely, let them know. Don't be afraid to ask these questions. Don't assume. Don't guess. Don't get anxious. Don't panic. Just ask the question. You can make things nice and calmly, and get the hell out of there if you need to. Facebook are jerks. Yeah. I thought about YouTube, but YouTube are just as bad as Facebook, Thomas, in many respects. Yeah, they're not actually removing the capacity to do lives, Monica. They're basically saying you still do lives, but after 30 days we'll delete the video. Then you won't be able to see it anymore. So it means I have to download it. So even on the page, so I have to download it and then re-upload it, which is easier for me if I just do it on OBS and record it what I'm doing here, and then I can upload it after it, or I can even do it like a subscriber thing. I guess for people who bother to turn up, I'll upload it and they can see it. Don't know, but I've got to think about what the future is. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharp. Anybody? Yeah. Look, if things do get dodgy and nasty for us, like coming this weekend, we'll absolutely definitely start up a thread where we can have officer help. And this is a great community. We'll all band together and get people sorted. I know we will. YouTube streaming is great. Okay, I could try that. We can try live on YouTube. I'll definitely try that. How about we try tomorrow nights on YouTube and see how we go? Yeah. That's what we might do. I just don't know about comments though on YouTube. I just have no idea. I think they're a bit Nazi when it comes to moderation, from understanding, but I'm not sure. There you go. 1 night is 1.8 kilometers, so I wasn't far away. I just double it and minus a bit. Let's go. Yeah, tell her Jackie not to be panicking at all. We've got her back. If she's got any questions, please, you can just DM me and I'll answer you direct. Okay? Don't stress. Don't think that you're not alone. Tell her that you've got a weather nerd in Sydney who knows his shit and will happily help her out. So you just tell her. You just get questions from her and I'll get whatever information I can to help her. Do you have a cruise from Brisbane on Sunday? I think it might be a little bit lumpy, Laurie. I think the low will be gone by then, but what damage or infrastructure damage is going to be around, I think it's probably going to be cancelled on the basis that they'll be cleaning up and they won't want people driving through the CBD and that sort of stuff, but we'll see, I guess. This is my assumption. Thank you, Pos, for that updated SCS evacuation centre stuff. That's what I was looking for before. That's fantastic. Yeah, YouTube does keep it permanently, which is great. I think I'll definitely try YouTube tomorrow night for the live and see how it goes, see if it's better. I've heard YouTube is much better for latency. I know Facebook is absolutely terrible for latency, whereas YouTube's better, which means I should be able to see your comments live, which means we can interact a bit better other than here, which is that latency issue. Although I think it's been a bit better from what I'm saying, because I'm actually seeing your comments pretty quickly as we talk about stuff. So as I've said something, I can see something flash up like within 15-20 seconds, but normally it's like up to a minute. So all right, let's get off here. It's been an hour as such. Actually, while we're together, let's do it. Let's see if the Bureau has lived up to the hype and put out the next warning. Let's go. Let's escape out of that. Let's go. We can look at this live together. I need to find the window where it is. Quick. Let's go. Let's look at this together. Meow. Let's go. Where's Bureau? BOM Sydney. Let's go, and we'll go Queensland that way. Queensland, weather and warning. Let's go. Let's go. So, wow, they've put a whole lot of stuff out since I've done it. Let's just refresh, make sure we've got the right one. Let's go. Here we go. All right, we are away. So, we now have a warning zone, a watch zone, a cancel zone, none. As of 7 o'clock, or just now, he's category 2, set it as 95 k's an hour, gusts to 130 k's an hour, about 520 kilometres east of the Gold Coast and 550 kilometres east of Brisbane. So he's basically bang dead between both of them. He's moving to the west-southwest at 17 k's an hour. So he's done his westward shift, he's on his way. He is on his way, he's done his U-turn, which is why those storms have started. I told you there was intensifying. I saw that storm and I thought, something has absolutely changed, so he's on his way, peeps. Now, that's interesting in itself. Look at that speed. Now, it was only 520 kilometres and it's 17 k's an hour. Someone do the math for me quickly, but that's there by tomorrow night, if I'm not surprised. I'm assuming he's going to slow down, surely, because that is not far to travel at 17 k's an hour. They're starting with coast late Thursday, early Friday, so he must be going to slow down. We've got 120 k an hour gusts are going to develop. Damaging winds of up to 155 k's an hour may develop. depending, of course, on his track as the destructive core approaches on Thursday, early Friday. Dangerous storm tide, as we know. And there's a high tide Thursday night. Oh, wow. That is not good at all. Okay, and that's as he's approaching, which means that there's no chance for that. Man, that's not going to be good. Massive tides, basically all the way down to Grafton, South New South Wales, north coast or mid-north coast. Of course, we've got the heavy rainfall across the whole place, but there's going to be dangerous and life-threatening flash flooding now, especially south or near the cyclone centre, as I've been telling you. And there has been a severe weather warning now and a flood watch also issued for other areas. And it is now recommended, this is the difference now, it's now commence preparations, get stuff done, choose your shelter away from home now, check the QE SES, Queensland South Emergency Services, make sure you now know what actually you're going to do. Your kit should be locked in. I would charge your devices, get all your photographs and that sort of stuff stored on cloud drives. Let's go have a look at the latest track map. So let's make it a bit bigger for you guys. Alright, so here we can see. So he's done his big shift just in the last hour or two. You can see that, and he's going to get a hook more to the west-northwest. So it's like a bit of a, like the satellites when they use, or the comets and sort of stuff they use when they go around the sun. They use that sort of hook around the sun to gain sort of a bit of speed, and they fling off. That's sort of what he's doing. He's got a bit of speed now in the hill then, but you can see the gap between these things shorten. So he's going to be quite fast until early tomorrow morning, and he's going to slow right down and then potentially intensify as well. So I think that this is going to be different over the next 2 days. We'll just see exactly how he travels. But again, the track has not changed as much. They're pretty much locked in on this forecast probability. You can see here that area of grey. Now, if they've updated, that means JCWC may have updated. Let's have a look at them. Let's go. We'll check their graphic out first. Okay. So they have upgraded, and they can see this area wind now has increased, and they are still putting it pretty much overnight Thursday into Friday, early Friday morning, up to 70 knots this stage. I think, here we go, here. 6Z, so that's Thursday night, early 70 knots. They've got a rapid intensification, and of course 40 knots is over land. So this is the key time here between 0 to 6. That's actually quite a long period of time. Look, there's a whole day between those forecasts. So they're not giving the end game away just yet. Let me see if I can find the prognostic reasoning for you, which is what I read. It's a bit of a Met chat, but it gives me an idea. So Dvorak is basically a special rating that the Mets give it to show its intensity, and the higher that number, of course, the higher the cyclone, like the stronger the cyclone. We can see it's still marginal environment, although they are outflow is what's keeping alive with that strong pole, as I showed you before. SST is going to improve. 26 is marginal. We'll get back to 27, and he will get going very quickly. Vertical wind shear 45 to 50 knots. That's what's killing him, but that's probably going to die down, I'd say. Let's have a look. Subtropical ridge located over Western Australia. That's how far away these systems can drive stuff. It's going to head to the east, and of course, it's going to go and drag it towards the west-southwest, and it will turn towards coastal Australia. A slight increase in ridging amplitude will cause a relatively small west-northwest approach between time after update 12 and time after update 36. So that's the same northwesterly kick. And what they've said that specifically because they don't want people to freak out and think it's going to go north. It's still going to go back towards Brisbane and to that sort of stuff. So don't get complacent. And you can see here the ridge will reorientate and lead to a west-southwest track until time after update 72, with an expected landfall near time after update 66 north of Brisbane. With regard to intensity, it's forecast to maintain intensities between then through time after update. Following time after update 48 hours, intensities are expected to weaken slightly, supporting the pole with upper level outflow chain winds and system wind field begins to interact. With that being said, the system has adopted subtropical cyclone characteristics due to strong wind, vertical wind shear, and dry air entrainment. Warming sea temperatures along the extreme coastline and decreasing wind shear will allow increasingly supportive environment for the cyclone to regain its symmetrical tropical structures before landfall. That's what I was showing in the morning. So that's a mealy mouth talk from a Met forecast to say, look, we expect it actually to go bomb near the coast and go really severe, but we don't want to say that because we don't want to frighten people, so we're going to treat them like dummies and not say that. But that's what it's saying. And this symmetrical tropical structure is the classic round structure that you normally see at the moment. The subtropical structure is that sort of smeary, Nike tick that we just saw before. And they then go on to talk about model discussion. You can see that there's still some pretty much consensus. They say intensity consensus in case of weakened faces before landfall, and then but up here they've said that I don't believe that whatsoever. In fact, this is actually baloney because we just saw EC just not long ago actually increase, and so did Access. So there is no consensus with a weakening before crossing the coast, and this actually worries me because that's not correct. That's not factually correct. That may be on one of their models, but on the Euro, which is a very reliable model, and the Access, the Bureau model, there is a intensification. So that worries me. Now, what time was this issued? It looks at here, 4th of March. Where is the time on there? It doesn't actually say when that was issued. It must be down the bottom. No. Who goes? It is. Well, that's gone past, so that can't be then. I wonder if that's updated. That's actually really disingenuous because that's actually not factually correct. We just saw that the models don't actually weaken it now, they actually intensify it. There you go, that's why it was issued this morning at 0Z, so it's a few hours old now. They haven't updated what the Bureau's has done. Alright, we'll keep updated with that stuff, but we now, it's now game on. It's now just a matter of when it crosses as opposed to if. And you can see again when I was telling you about that pole channel, look at that, that is just outstanding. It is basically dumping its leftover air over the South Pole. That's how strong the upper systems are. And it's what's keeping it alive. But you can see here what they're talking about, that asymmetrical. You can see that even now it's starting to get that little curve, look at it, that roundish look to it. You can see it's starting to wrap in, which I was saying before, it's starting to tap into. And there's this actual surge of monsoonal air to the north. It's just like, if this is like a day earlier, I think we will be dealing with a pretty category 3, category 4 into South East Queensland, to be fair. That's a lot of moisture coming down. That's, I think, maybe dodged a bullet. If Alfred had been a day later, it could have been a lot more dangerous, actually. Alright, quickly, questions, and I'll get out of here because I've been talking for over an hour now. You're welcome, everybody. Rain and stuff, actually, no, I don't think we'll see anything sort of maybe the weekend. We'll get these bandy showers now for the next few days at all, and then we'll see where he goes after that. Once he goes across the coast, they will lose that bandy shower sort of inflow band stuff because obviously he won't be sucking that far up, and then we'll see what happens. G'day, Leanne. We don't know yet. We're still awaiting what's going to happen with that. What is the forecast for tomorrow? It's on the page, Mr. Sharp, but it showers all day. I will quickly look and see if EC is upgraded, because it wasn't out when I checked. Access was quite bullish about showers for most of tomorrow. Let's go here. We'll zoom in. Alright, let's go. Yeah, showery day, nothing heavy. I think it's going to be pretty much like today actually. I think there'll be quite showery, humid, wet morning, starting to sort of clear just after lunch, and I think it looks afternoon is going to be a bit sunny as the winds tend to keep to a bit more towards the east-southeast, and which means again the outer bands sort of pull away and go back up. You can see, if I zoom out a bit here, you can see roughly where the outer bands are. Like you can see if I just drag out, just about sort of coming around here. And we're just right on that edge, whereas into the central coast we're getting a bit, you can see there's a bit of divergence here, so winds go that way and then winds sort of go this way. That's what we call divergence. So again, we're just sort of being dislocated from that sort of outer bands of Alfred, and that's probably because it's actually starting to head towards, back towards the west-northwest, and so we will actually lose that sort of enhancing capability we've had, which is why I think it's probably going to get a bit, it's going to get wetter on Thursday, which is interesting. Again, because you look at that bit of convergence that's going in here, the wind's actually sort of colliding towards the coast. In fact, it's going to be wetter Thursday than it was today, which is good, and will be tomorrow. Friday, again showers. As I said, it's going to persist basically all week. And then I guess we'll see what lies in tail for us once he crosses the coast, and at what strength he crosses the coast too. Alright, that is it for now. I will get off here and shut the hell up. Alright, I will try tomorrow night. We'll definitely try via YouTube. I'll link the link and that sort of stuff. I'm not sure, but we'll work it out. It has been a lovely day to catch up with you all. Hey, how many days does the rain ask after the cyclone ends? For this type of system, a day, maybe not even that, 36 hours maybe, Laurie. It won't last long, it'll clear pretty quickly because the area that's causing the rain is going to go away from you once it goes across land. So flying back into Sydney tomorrow, it'll be gusty. It's going to be gusty, but it won't be anything to worry about whatsoever. I love watching SpaceX Starship on YouTube, I must say. Did you see that landing in the water the other day? Just amazing that we get to see that. Just basically just sat down like a dog sitting on the map in front of the fire, just like plunge into the water. Right there. I'm out of here. I'll leave you guys to chat about. We just talked about that, Dane. Hello, Brett. Dane, lovely to see you, but you were just talking about the fact that he's already intensifying. Catch you all tomorrow night. Been lovely to have you all. Thank you so much for your company, and I will definitely catch you on the flip side. Stay tuned, keep your eyes peeled. I'll have fresh updates for you with a sassy wheat in the morning and a bit of shade. I definitely like that I got something through Shade and Ice, because we've always just been informative. I don't understand why that shade was thrown at us. I'm very disappointed about that, but anyway. I will leave, no doubt. I'm sure maybe they didn't mean it towards us, maybe they meant it towards somebody else. But it was disappointing. Anyway, on that, I'm going to leave it on a positive note. I'm going to play you the inspirational music of the BBC, because it always gets the creative juices firing for me, and wish you all a pleasant evening. And now that you can hear the music, it's so exciting. Thanks to Troy for something that didn't accept, but good evening.